you've been spoiled today. Welcome to Whitelock Fever Live, and if you're listening on the podcast, welcome back. And this fella, if he had a look in the email trail, he would see I've been trying to crack it for a chat with him for about 8 or 9 years. And then last night he was ready and I wasn't. But he's finally here from Enuff's Enough. Chip's Enough. How are you, Chip?
Good afternoon. Good evening.
So if you're in Australia, it's about 4 a.m. or something. So thanks for getting up and watching. And thanks for joining.
You're welcome, my friend. I love Australia. I love your wine. I love your women. I love your music. I love shopping out there. There's nothing I don't. Last time I was in Australia was in 2020 in March with the great Kip Winger playing all over the place. It was absolutely fabulous. As a matter of fact, we were following around Blackie and the Pixies. They were on tour as well at the same time. So great moments in your lovely country. Beautiful people out there. And one thing you guys hail as well is great hard rock, heavy metal.
Exactly. And that's embarrassing. You've actually been in Australia more recently than me. We're here to talk about Hard Rock Nite, which is the new album full of Beatles and Beatles associated covers. And the one thing listening to it, Chip, is that when a song had already been done as a hard rock version, did you try to keep that version out of your mind? And how hard was it not to listen to you have a bit of Guns N' Roses come into your thinking when you're recording,
No, it wasn't a challenge at all. Well, the challenging part is anytime playing Beatles songs and singing those parts. We're talking about one of the greatest bands, if not the greatest band ever. Songwriters, singers, players, just fabulous cats that written songs that are timeless. Here we are talking about them 60 years later. You can't say enough about the Beatles, how great they were. Paul McCartney invited my job as well. I've said it a million times. Go in the studio and do these songs, obviously there's a challenge there because we're all recording. It's analog. We're going to tape. We want great performances. But more than anything, we just wanted to nail down these songs as well as we could and try to make them sound like they're Enuff's Enough songs, even though they're not. We're paying homage. It's not a tribute record. It's a reinterpretation of the Beatles songs through Mesa Boogie and Marshall amplifiers and big drums and SVT amplifiers. That's exactly what it is. Imagine what the Beatles were playing today through that kind of equipment. They'd fucking be fantastic, what they'd bring to the party. The songs were already timeless as it is, but to go into take pop songs and turn it into a hard rock record, that's certainly something that tripped my trigger.
Hey, it's very interesting and sort of reassuring in a way that bands from the 60s can still have little sort of public feuds. And we saw Roger Daltrey say he thought that the Stones were a pub band. And last year, Paul McCartney said he thought the Stones were a bit of a blues cover band. But most of your contemporaries would have been more Stones than Beatles influenced. LA Guns, they're more a Stonesy band than a Beatles band. So a really basic question: why the Beatles? Why did you gravitate that way?
Well, first of all, Daltrey sounds a little bit cantankerous. And as far as McCartney goes, well, he was just telling the truth because the Stones are essentially a blues band. And don't think there's not competition there, folks. They both love each other, and in a lot of ways they admired each other's surroundings as far as the song and their catalog. But at the end of the
second part of our chat with Chip's Enough from Enuff's Enough. Chip, you're talking a little bit before about, you should be here in the UK at the moment, or you should have been here recently, and it's really interrupted touring. I know you've just been out with Faster Pussycat. So what are your plans to catch up for lost time? What do you got planned over the next 12 months?
Well, mate, I'm in the studio recording. I'm here in Blue Island, Illinois, where I live. I have my own recording studio. I do all the tracking here, along with my guitar players, Tony Fennell's studio, T-Ray, in a place in Massachusetts. We're making records. I just read an article recently where a lot of musicians have been in the studio just making records this whole time while we've been locked down and not on tour. I've been on tour. I went out with Faster Pussycat. And then, of course, I was out with Tesla doing shows. So we've been staying busy. But in the meantime, I'm in the studio making records, bro. That's exactly that's what us musicians are supposed to do. Lenny Kravitz did 3 albums this year. Enuff Z'Nuff has done 5 records this year. It's unbelievable, the output, because there's obviously plenty of fodder and subject matter to write about right now. But I want to go out and play shows, and so does the band. That's what we do. At the end of the day, we make records and we go out and we support them. So I'm looking forward to, we have another dozen shows here in the United States throughout the year, and after that, then we'll start gearing up for 2022. And we'll come back. I promise you, we're doing Hard Rock Hell. I know that in November next year with The Darkness and Skid Row. That'll be great. And then we'll probably do a little run around that as well. But in the meantime, I got records to finish. I just did my solo record that follows the Hard Rock Nite album. The Chips Enough solo records got Joe Holstra from Whitesnake playing guitar on it. I also have Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick. Adler's playing on a song from Guns N' Roses.
Wow.
It's a strong record. Another hard rock record as well. And then this brand new Enuff Z'Nuff album that I'm just finishing right now, probably about 3 weeks out from putting it all to bed. And then I'll have plenty of music to go play next year on the road. And hopefully come back to Australia. I'm hearing that there's a couple of promoters out there that are very interested in bringing Enuff Z'Nuff and the road show, the circus, over to your part of the country. Can't wait to come back there, bro. I'm not kidding you. Love Australia. Love the UK. My favorite place to play in around the country. Don't think I don't like the United States, because obviously there's a lot of great things that happen over here as well. And people are starving for rock and roll and heavy metal. But I love going across the pond. There's nothing like it. The fans wait their whole life to see their favorite American bands. And I'm just lucky anybody knows what we're doing and what we're all about at the end of the day. And quite an illustrious career we've had so far. You can't complain there.
You are incredibly prolific, as you mentioned. So have you already got? It's just going to be called Chips Enough. Is it the solo record? It's got a title and and will there be songs about COVID on all these records? What's the story?
Why does anybody want to hear about that? We hear enough about it put on the news. Okay, that's all that's out there. So no, it won't be any songs about being quarantined. That's for sure, because we've all lived that ourselves. And I don't think anybody really wants to hear about that. No, it'll be songs about what I know about: substance, promiscuity, and getting out on the road and doing the things that we do as musicians. And of course, there's hope in there as well, because we always want to see good things happen to everybody that's out there that's navigating these unprecedented waters. But the record will be called Perfectly Imperfect. Comes out in March on Frontiers. It's just another record at the end of the day. You know, Stefan, I write these songs to trip my own trigger. It's therapeutic for me, and if it passed the test of time and I dig them, then I turn everybody on to them as well. I mean, look how many songs we have. I think we have over 300 songs on Spotify right now. It's a lot of material. And John Lennon, you said it best. He goes, the biggest fear of all us musicians is running out of songs. So anytime you find something that is going to excite you, and you can and put music to tape, you take advantage of that as fast as you can. And that's what I'm doing over here at the studio every single day.
Yeah, and the box set, the response to that has been good, and has it? And that was a good experience revisiting the very earliest recordings.
Yeah, the box set was a nice thing to put out there, because we never thought that we'd put another box set out of material that was unreleased. But the guys over at Cleopatra Records were very kind to us. Brian Pereira, most notably, him and his buddy Ken. They came to us and said, "Hey, we wanted some material that's been sitting in the vault. What do you got?" And thank goodness I was intuitive enough to know how to hang on to these tapes, these cassettes and dad tapes and all of the recordings. I've got 200 2-inch tapes sitting in the house right here, big 2-inch analog tapes of tons of material. And so I went back in the studio. I first contacted Donnie, and I asked him what he wanted to do with the material. And he said he wasn't really interested in it. And I told him that it's got a great vibe to it. Perhaps I send you a couple songs and see what you think. And he heard it and he goes, "Man, it's a great energy. Let's put it out there." And basically, folks, it's 40 songs unreleased of Enuff Z'Nuff material from the early days when we were kids. And I think it's nice to have out there. Great liner notes on the record, wonderful package. had Paul Natkin, who did all the photography for the Stones, and Aerosmith, who shot the band in its earliest inception. He put all the pictures together for us. Wonderful job he did there. Got Patty Glascott. Patty Glascott just did the Time and Life cover for Van Halen here around the country. Wonderful colorization, great stylist. So I put together a nice package here with the great artwork, and I think that it goes back and shows the band how the band shows the fans how the band used to be in the old days, and I think it's a great record. Remember, it's not a studio; it's demos and rarities. At the end of the day, you listen to it and you go, well, it certainly doesn't sound like the first or the Strength record or Animals of Human Intelligence. Well, those records cost a Brinks truck to make. This was done in the bedroom, nobody around us at all, just us ourselves, playing all the instruments. And I think we're going to run out there, and I think that people listen to it, and it's part of our history. We should be proud of that.
Okay.
And their version is spectacular. And I remember hearing a story about Paul McCartney, who said that his kids went to go see Guns N' Roses in London. And when they came back home, Paul said, yeah, how'd your kids like the show? And the kids said, well, Dad, it was great. They played Live and Let Die. It was fantastic. And Paul said, I wrote that song, kids. And they go, yeah, sure, Dad. So, so sometimes you never get any credit. But no, fabulous track right there. We took our own approach to it, and I think we did a fine job.
Excellent. Okay, welcome back to Whitelock Fever. And I want to thank Chip enough for being on the last two programs. And he's back just for another 5 minutes or so. Chip, we actually previously had Donnie on this show, and he said that that song he's just put out, It's Party Time, he said that you were playing on that or intended to play on that. Do you appear on that track?
Yeah, I'm playing on it along with keyboard player from Jellyfish, Roger Manning. Mm. Yeah, of course I did it. I don't never hold anything back. He asked me to play on the track, so I play on that song, and then I went down to Chicago and shot the video with them as well for Party Time, and it's done very well for him.
And what's the kind of future of that kind of relationship? I know he kind of has suggested that maybe there could be two versions of Enuff's Enough. Like there's two versions of Dokken. There's one with George Lynch in, and there's one with George Lynch out. Is that on the cards? Is that a possibility?
Who knows what the cards hold? I couldn't explain to you in Sesame Street terms what the next wave of the future is going to be there. He's got a solo career. That's what he's doing. And I'm pushing the catalog of Enuff's Enough and the legacy of what we've put out for the last 30 years. I've never stopped. I've continued to move the needle from the first day we put the band together back in late 83 or late 84. And I'm still going strong right now. And I got a wonderful band. Tori Stoff-Reagan playing guitar has been with me for the last 13, 14 years. Daniel Benjamin Hill on drums, great producer, songwriter. And of course, Tony Fennell, the former vocalist of Ultravox, who took Vigier's place in the band, playing guitar and singing background vocals. And he's just a fabulous musician as well. I got a great team right now. We're moving forward. If there was going to be another version of that, I couldn't make. I really couldn't make out on that, to be honest with you. I would think that the fans would probably confuse the fans, especially after all these years playing together.
Yeah. How hard was it going back to vocals and kind of getting the stage dynamics right? Having watched you over the last 10 years, you've now got a really visually exciting show, but it must be an adjustment when you've got to stay at the mic stand and so the other guys are got to be visual in a way. Was that a hard adjustment to get used to being stationary so much in the show when you used to move around so much?
Well, I guess it would be an adjustment in some ways. Listen, I've been doing this for a long time. I know I can sing the songs. I'll never have the pipes my brother has, and I'm not trying to. Phil Collins doesn't sing like Peter Gabriel, okay? So we take the band to where we thought it should go right now. It's the same direction, solid rock pop songs, showing everything that we've done throughout the years in our style of music. To get out there and play these songs, that was a challenge live. There's no doubt about that. Singing and playing bass on these tunes is not easy. But I think I found my footing, and I can wear that dress. And I certainly I listen to the fans, and the audience tells me what moves them and what doesn't. And so far, thumbs up. The records have sold well. Frontiers loves the relationship with the band. There's no rigmarole. It's just 4 guys showing up every single night, and we go out there and we kick ass and give a great show. And as far as me happen to be stuck in front of a microphone, well, that's the job of a singer, especially when you're playing an instrument. So I accepted that position, and I'm happy with where we're at right now. You come see the band for yourself, and you tell me what you think. That's what I say. We go out, we bring it every single night. No tapes, no sequencers, no guys backstage. It's 4 guys playing live, kicking ass, and that's what a good rock band should do every single night.
Yeah, I have been to see, and as I said, I think you're visually as well as you sound great. You know that you're visually engaging as well. You know, even though that you don't have the mobility that you would have had if you were just playing bass. That was kind of my point. You know.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. I got to sing the songs every single night, and people want to hear those songs. They want them to sound like close to the record that they went out and purchased. Yeah, it's a different world right now. We're at a time right now where there's too much product, not enough demand. You know, for bands to go out there, if the fans really want to see their favorite bands, they got to go see the live shows, and they got to support them if you want to see the needle move it further. I think at the end of the day, we've done a fine job navigating. We'll see what happens in the future. You know, 2022 is going to bring out a lot, brand new music, a bunch of touring. We'll go out. I think we're going to go out in March or April with Missing Persons, which is more of like a new wave alternative band. Most of the tours that we've done in the past have been with bands that were more along the lines of what we do as far as image goes. I think this time we're going to take a different approach. It'll be When in Rome, Bow Wow Wow, Missing Persons, Enuff's Enough. Whether we bring that package over to across the pond, that remains to be seen, but I know that's going to happen next year. Yeah, I'm gearing up for that, to be honest with you. I'm ready to get on the Oscar Mayer Wiener wagon and go out and tour around the country.
One more thing I wanted to ask you before we finish is about the name of the band, because there was an update in July from Donnie saying he now owns it. So is that a hurdle for you? Is there any drama out of that?
We haven't really discussed anything like that, although I know he wanted to come over there and try to tour, and I don't see why he couldn't go out and tour. Nobody was ever stopping him from doing that. That's why I went out and got the record deals for us and help move the earlier records and find a label for it that would be where everything would be underneath one umbrella, and people go out and get the records, and we can follow exactly what's happening with our career and our songs. That was a nice gesture, and he actually helped us because at that time everything was shut down, so there wasn't really a lot of finances that were being taken care of. We found ourselves behind the 8 ball like everybody else in there. There's hardworking mothers out there working 2 jobs a day trying to get around the country. So I found the record deal for us, which I thought was very important. And then after that, I went and played on a solo record. I think I've shown enough love that I couldn't show him much more than that. If he's got something he wants to do, I can't stop him from doing that, to be honest with you, and not that I want to. Can he do that? Remember, he left the business in 2013 for a reason. He had health issues. He just was sick and tired of the business and what directions it was taking him. He wasn't happy. If he finds a way where he can go out and tour and try to work in the country, he'll find out how much different it is than in the old days. In the old days, we were on the Enuff's Enough tour bus, and it was an ounce of cocaine, 20 bottles of booze, Jack Daniels, more pills than a pharmacy, and we were on a $500,000 tour bus traveling around the country. Nowadays, Enuff's Enough puts all the gear in a van. We're traveling around down and dirty, like when we first started playing when we were kids. It's not easy. He'll find out that it's a difficult ride at the least to go out there and play shows 5-6 days a week and make it work. Anybody that can do that, I give them a lot of credit, because most cats can't.
Yeah. It's obviously always unfortunate if you've got 2 bands called the same thing. So I guess most people hope that doesn't happen.
I appreciate that. It's really nice of you talking to me. I know you got a lot of clients and artists out there that are looking to push their wares. I don't take it for granted that you guys out there love hard rock and heavy metal. I appreciate your time.